Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE and compare it against the iPhone 14 and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, I will definitely tell you, there's a lot of capability between both of these devices, and I don't really know if there's like one phone that I'd 1000% recommend over the other one, but I do think, like I said, there's a lot of capability here for sure, and I think both these devices hold up very, very well in their own way. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get that from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, a big thing to keep in mind, on Amazon, both these phones are roughly around the same price. So you can basically buy an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy S23 FE for around the same price, a little bit over $500. So that's kind of crazy. I would probably recommend if you're wanting the better phone, it's going to be a little complicated. So let's kind of break this down. On the exterior, both these phones are a little bit different. So the iPhone 14 on the front, which came out in 2022, has a 6.1-inch Super Retina Extra OLED display. It's a pretty good panel. I've always felt like these panels were very good, and there's not really a lot to complain about here. It's 60 Hz, it's a fairly bright display as well, so it's not like a, crazy groundbreaking display by any means, but it's a pretty good device, and it's a pretty good looking display when it kind of comes down to it. You have the notch up top, but it's still a good looking device nonetheless. The Galaxy S23 FE, on the other hand, has a slightly bigger 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display. So this is a little bit of a bigger panel, but you're also getting bigger bezel, I feel like, on the S23 FE than on the iPhone 14. So that was something that kind of stood out to me. I don't like having these massive bezels, and this one doesn't have a massive bezel, don't get me wrong, it's still a good looking phone, but I feel like compared to the iPhone 14, you're kind of getting more bezel on that phone than the iPhone 14. For example, the screen to body ratio on the iPhone 14 is 86%. The screen to body ratio on the Galaxy S23 FE is 83.2%. Is it a big difference? No, but it's a small one. It's not something you're probably going to notice. Probably not, but something I noticed. 120 Hz display on the S23 FE and a whole bunch display at that. I would probably say that the display looks better on the S23 FE, but the 14, because of the lack of bezel and the way that panel is calibrated, I feel like the iPhone 14 display might be a little bit better for some people. So that kind of covers it up there. On the bottom side, you have the Lightning port on the iPhone 14. You have that USB-C port on the Galaxy S23 FE. I love having USB-C, and that is kind of a better advantage on that phone over something like the iPhone 14. On the sides, kind of like this flat side to both of them, although the S23 FE is slightly curved a little bit, but they both have their own distinct feeling, which is kind of nice. On the backside, glass backs on both. So this is something that's kind of interesting. Having a glass back on both of them is super nice. I love having that type of feeling, but that is something that's kind of, interesting between both of them. So if you're wanting the device with better glass back, I don't think you're really going to notice either one having a better glass back here, but it's still kind of nice that we have that type of capability here too. So triple camera setup on the back of the S23 FE. iPhone 14 has a dual camera setup. You're getting wireless charging on both. You are getting reverse wireless charging on the back of the S23 FE, which is a very, very nice feature. So I will tell you on the exterior, I don't know if there's one phone that looks way better or holds up way better than the other one, but I'd probably tell you the S23 FE has more flagship features, but the iPhone 14 I think feels a little bit more premium when it kind of comes down to it. So that kind of covers it up from that perspective. Now from the performance side of things, a little bit, or from the camera side, let's start there. So like I said, they both have, a little bit of a different camera setup. The S23 FE has that triple camera setup, a wide ultra-wide telephoto lens. The iPhone 14 has that wide and ultra-wide camera. Now you can zoom in a lot more in something like the S23 FE, and I definitely do like having 4K at 60 on the back and the front of both these phones, which is nice, but you are getting 8K capability on the back of the Galaxy S23 FE. Now is it a massive difference? I'm going to tell you, for the average person, you probably don't need to do 8K video. I think it's kind of overkill for a lot of people, but it is a really nice feature to have. And like I mentioned, it's a super nice thing to just be able to do, whip out your phone, film an 8K video, and pretty much move on from there. Now, I will tell you on top of that, the iPhone cameras are also very, very good. I've had an amazing time with those iPhone cameras, and I do think that is probably the one that I look at as probably being the more consistent one overall. Although you're getting way more features in something like a Samsung Galaxy camera, I kind of do feel like that with a device like the iPhone 14, for a lot of social media applications and different things like that, you are probably getting the overall better calibrated camera, especially in those social media applications on that device than on something like the Galaxy S23 FE. So keep that in mind. I don't think, again, there's one that I would look at more than the other one as the best one, but that is a slight difference that I've noticed between both. So keep that in mind there. Now, another thing between both these devices is with the software longevity. So the Galaxy S23 just came out. The iPhone 14 has been out for a year now, but the S23 FE basically has the same internals as the Galaxy S22 of last year. So you have to really keep that in mind. You are getting a phone on the S23 FE with the same chipset as the phone from last year. Is it a big difference? Absolutely not. Like, I don't think that's going to be a massive difference for a lot of things. But from a software longevity side, this could mean that the S23 FE is probably not going to last as long as the iPhone 14. In fact, I'm pretty sure the iPhone 14 is going to last probably many more years on top of the S23 FE. So it's not like a big thing. It's not like you're going to change your phone today and be affected by this today, but it will take its time. But over the long run, you are probably going to be getting that longer lasting phone from something like the iPhone 14 than from something like the Galaxy S23 FE. So keep that in mind there. Again, not a big deal, but it's just one of those smaller things to kind of keep in mind there. So that kind of covers it up there. Now from the performance side of things, this is also a kind of an interesting thing. So the iPhone 14, as we all know, has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6GB of RAM, where the Galaxy S23 FE has that Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM in this one. So what does this mean? So I'll tell you, the S23 FE's performance is very good, although it is a little bit of a better, it has more RAM. I will also add that the chipset inside of the 8 Gen 1 is very good. That's a very, very good performing chipset, and I truly do feel like that's a very good performing phone in general. Very awesome, it holds up very, very well from that perspective, which is super cool. With something like the iPhone 14, this is also a very, very good performing, device as well. I do feel like that getting a device like the iPhone 14, it's going to be giving you a very solid experience and a very solid performing device, just in every single way. So that's something I actually do like from that device a lot. So when it comes down to it, I do think that if you're wanting the phone with better capability in general, something like the iPhone 14 may be a smoother device, but I think the Galaxy S23 FE is probably the more powerful device when it comes down to it. Like if you're wanting the phone with just giving you more power at the end of the day, I think the S23 FE might be the one for you, but the iPhone 14 is still doing really well in the performance side. It's going to be very, very good from that performance side as well. Now the other thing, battery life wise, you're definitely going to be getting, I don't think there's going to be one phone that's going to be better from a battery life standpoint. I think both are going to be very good. And like I said, I don't know if there's one that I'd look at as like, oh, this is going to be the better performing device, from a battery life standpoint. I will tell you, the S23 FE, having that type of, wireless or reverse wireless charging is very cool. Reverse wireless charging is a battery type feature. So I would definitely say that is a really nice feature to have. And I'll probably say the S23 FE is probably going to give you just better battery performance and better battery features than the iPhone 14. So to kind of sum up this whole entire thing, what I'll tell you is I definitely do think a device like the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE, it's good, but I don't think it's good for the value. I definitely do think if you're going to buy the S23 FE, you might as well buy the Galaxy S23. That is probably going to be the better device in every single area. I just don't see why you'd want to go ahead and buy something like the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE when the standard Samsung Galaxy S23 already exists and is cheaper in the used market. With the iPhone 14, I think this is a very good phone. If you're willing to go down this direction, I would 1,000,000,000% recommend buying this phone. It's so good, and I can just recommend this all day to basically every single person. It's a very, very solid phone. But like I said, I look at a device like the Galaxy S23 and it's cheaper in the used market. You might as well go for this one. But I do like the Galaxy, I like the S23 FE, I think it's a good phone, but go for the iPhone 14 too. Like that's a very, very good device as well. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.